Double click.
Double click.
Oh, what the?
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of On the Bench. Today we got a little short one. I had this Logitech USB mouse that the USB cable just was breaking it somewhere, so it wasn't working. I took it apart to use the USB cable to try and repair a G920 steering wheel, but that didn't really work. But I have another USB cable. Now we're going to try and do a quick and dirty fix on this. This isn't for sale or for a customer. This is just as a spare for myself. So, you know, if it's a bit quick and dirty, doesn't really matter. So there's the insides of it. That's the USB plug. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to solder. I will tidy this up. The tips of these cables onto the corresponding pins, and then hit it with a glob of hot glue, and then just try and reroute the cable back through its original path. Hopefully it'll be thin enough. As I say, this is just a quick and dirty one, but just to show you how easy stuff like this can actually be repaired if you want to use them as a spare or even just as practice for soldering for yourself. You know, it's always good to learn a new skill. So let's get to it. So there's my soldering iron. I'm just gonna, this is cold by the way, so I'm not burning myself. Oh, that's a lot of carbon buildup. Wowzers. I'm just gonna put a slightly smaller tip on it because what we're working with here is quite small. If you want to make your own Johnston jokes, please do it in your own time. This is a family show. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's probably going to give us a good compromise between tip, size and heat transfer. Because if you have too small a tip, it's hard to transfer the heat across, and then it's hard to melt the solder and get good joints sometimes. I will admit I am not the best solderer in the world, but I'm getting better all the time, I think. Better all the time, so he tells himself. Ah, do you know what, I'm a lot better than I used to be. And sure, isn't that the important thing? We just got to keep on getting better. Or something. Right, the tips here, these are, I had already soldered these onto something before, just that steering wheel. I had pulled up just a shot of what this should look like, and it should go, yeah, it should go green, white, red, black. So it should be green, then white, then red, then black. So we're going to fire on the soldering iron. I have it set to about 400, it's maybe a bit too hot, but I'm going to leave it there. Right, some things you need for soldering. This is soldering flux. This is not a correct soldering flux. What's the word? Syringe. This is literally just a toothbrush. You're supposed to have a proper syringe, but I don't have one yet. I need to buy one. Flux is very important because whenever the solder melts, it starts to oxidize and it puts like a bit of a crust on it. And when it does that, it doesn't stick as well. What the flux does is it stops it from oxidizing, and therefore it makes it a lot stickier. So if you've tried soldering and you haven't gotten anywhere with it, it's possibly because you didn't have enough flux or didn't have any flux. So flux is always important with soldering. These have already been pre-tinned a bit, and that means you run a bit of solder on them already. So I'm just gonna, I don't know how well you can see that. So you can see on the green one there is a bit of solder on it. Just gonna cover with the iron, make sure it's at the top. And now I'm going to try and keep this all in frame. Okay. So just going to put the cable as close to that point as I can and introduce some heat. It's fiddly work this, so and let it sit to take, and yeah, well. Yeah, that one is taken. Found it. My lovely golden pinchers. Got them in pennies. And do you know what? They're actually really, really good for all the price of them. My wife sometimes steals them to do her eyebrows. to get some solder. And there's the soldering wire. I'm just going to move the mouse out of the way for a minute so you can see this better. So I can frame it better and just... So there's a bit on the tip. There we go. Oh, the ball fell off. Oh man, we all know what it's like when your balls fall off. Was that not when you get married? Whoa! Misogyny! Alright, we can see the wire, we can see the soldering iron. Now we just try and run some of that solder that we got onto the tip of our iron onto... Oh, my iron tip might be a bit dirty. This episode is just filled with innuendo, so I just kind of give it in there and give it that. Clean off with my super special wire that definitely isn't just a metal scrubber. And then we're going to re-tin the tip again. Always make sure your tip is clean and tinned when soldering. It's not taken, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tip tinner on it. What is tip tinner, you ask? There, this is tip tinner. Let's chip quick. What it does is it's a mild acid that gets rid of any oxidization or anything that's on the tip of your soldering iron. And you just leave it. I need a new one of this. Is getting low. And you just leave it in there for a minute and let all that acid do its goodness. And then we just clean off the tip in our metal scrubber again. Much shinier. Try re-tinning this again. Lovely, see the way the solder is just sticking to that tip now. Makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Just try and get some of that solder onto the wire. Oh, I'm melting a bit of the soldering iron hit the tip X at the end of the mouse and burnt the plastic a bit. Always something you have to look out for in soldering is where the end of the iron is. And that's something I'm not very good at. Like I say, we're all just learning here. It's in position. Now we've got a small area to work with here, so I want to try and avoid things crossing over themselves. Do you mind in that one of them last videos I was talking about eye herpes? Yeah, I've got shingles now. Fucking mad for herpes, me. So this is fiddly work. And it's even fiddlier when you're trying to film it. And because I am so great at filming, it's proving especially fiddly. So there will be a lot of cuts in this, so just bear with me. There will also be a lot of shot of the back of my hand. I apologise. I will do my best. I can solder this without getting a bridge onto the green and also not melt half of the thing. I think I did it. Alright, there's the white. So now it's red. Just gonna re-tin my tip. I'm gonna clean my tip first because it's probably got a bit of plastic or something on it. Bet you this is more times than you wanted to hear me say the words clean my tip in one video. Get in there with a bit of flux and try not to melt the plastic, but also try and keep it in shot for use. That is now actually quite thick. It might be too thick for this to not give us a bit of a crossing, so I might just take a little bit off it. Get a solid sucker onto it, might be the best job. You suck. This is basically just a wee spring-loaded plunger that when you get the solder wet, you hit the button and it goes and sucks it up. Some are better than others. This is a cheap one, but it should do the job for this. So we just get our solder nice and... Oh, Jesus, try not to melt the fucking mouse wheel. And we go, and we go, and we go. There's also desoldering braid, which is just, as it says in the tin, it's a braid they use for desoldering. As I said, it's a little copper braid. You want to focus on it there. That you can use. It sucks up solder pretty well if you need it. Let's try this red one now. It's been minimized a bit. I think we've done that without a bridge. Not the greatest connection in the world though. Might just go in again with a bit more. No, I don't like that at all. Sorry, I'm gonna have to block the camera to do this. But I just wanted to be well. Sure, how would you be well if you're watching me? Is there literally no one else? Does Mr. Beast have a new video out or something? I'm not gonna claim that I know anything about Mr. Beast. My YouTubes are very boring. I follow guys who do stuff about games and guys who do stuff about cars. Right, now the black. Just gonna tidy it up a bit before we go for it. Braid it a bit better or something. Like I said, this isn't a pretty job. Like I said, this is a quick and dirty. Just to try and get this thing back working for me to have as a spare for my own office work. Oh, the green has come off. I have to do it again. Because I'm not reusing this plug, the white plug bit around it, I might just cut back because it'll give me more area to work with. Yeah, that does give me much bigger area to work with. Makes things a good bit easier. I can take the board out, can't I? I can take that board out and just make my life so much easier. Because then I have even more of an angle to work with. And I could put it like sideways and stuff. And right, give me a minute. So I'm just going to redo everything I've done. I'm going to retrim the cables because they're all a bit frayed. I'm going to give myself a better area to work with down here on the pins. And I'm just going to make life a hell of a lot easier for myself. So I'll come back when that's ready to go. So I'm going to prop the board up with these wee boys. I bought them to hold phone screens and tablet screens back together while you're gluing them, but they're great at giving you a stable base for soldering. Maybe an actual helpful hand would be better, but you know, you make do with what you've got. I can see what I'm doing. I have a lot more cable to work with, so I can actually move things better. Going to go for it. Gonna clean the tip first though. Sick of hearing me say clean my tip at this point. 'Cause I kind of am. Yeah, that's so much better. That's it guys, you live and learn. You live and learn. Often the thing I learn the most is just how much of an idiot I am, as I'm sure you guys are learning too. Don't know why I've got Blitzkrieg Bop in my head. Soldery magic. Put it away to the side. Onto that pin. Oh, I could have done without you splitting apart like that. So that puts us in higher danger of bridges. Jeff Bridges, Bo Bridges, the bridges of Madison County. I'm going a bit mad talking about fucking bridges. Ah, much better. Much happier with that. Right. Doot. One more to go. Gonna bring them together. solidify. Yes! Okay. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to plug it into the computer and see if anything happens. This may have all been a waste. But at least we'll have learned something. Computer make boopity boop. USB device not recognized. Do we have a bridge somewhere? No. Do we need an earth? No. Are some of these cables the wrong way around? Could be that. I could have it all arseways like. It could be completely backwards. So I'm going to do it again. Making sure it's the right way around. And then we'll see. Now, one small error I did do earlier is I accidentally clipped the first pin a bit because I thought it was just the ground that we didn't need. But now, if it might be the one we do need, I'll have to dig it out a bit. Just dig it out a bit from all the crud. Bend the pins away from each other a bit, just to make it easier to do this bit of soldering as well, and to stop bridges. Okay, I mean, as you can see in this video, this is not perfect. This has been just mistake after mistake after mistake, but trial and error is important in these things, because that's where you learn the most. That's where you perfect your techniques, and that is where you get better for tomorrow. And I'm very big learning from what you're doing. Your mistakes are always more important than your triumphs, to teach you what you're at, what to do, build up your resilience, build up your plan Bs. Because if everything goes perfect the first time, that's great, but the second time it mightn't, and then you might know what to do. Of course, these are just the ramblings of an idiot. Feel free to take them with a pinch of salt. Okay, white. So now red. It's not melting. Right, I'm going to tin the tip again, because I want to play a ball. Lots of lovely smoke, which I'm sure is non-toxic or something, you know. Definitely should be breathing that in. Then he wonders why he's riddled with herpes. Get it. Plenty of flux there for us to play with. Okay. Nah. Okay. Not the best, but I'm sure it'll hold. I do see a potential bridge there, so a bit. I'm just going to go straight ahead with the black and hope for the best. Ooh, I have a message. Okay, let's try plugging it in again and see does it bing bong and the lights come on and does anything work? It was moving the mouse. Just a little bit, but when I put it all back together, it should work. Right, let's go get my hot glue gun. Here she is. Parkside's finest. Although it is, you know, does the job. Like, I mean, versus the glue gun, you don't need to do a whole pile. Just Sure, while that cools, I'm going to take advantage of a chance to give all the bits of this a clean, because you don't usually get to. Now my syringe slash toothbrush come in handy here. You think that's needed? I'm sure it's fine. Put it back together later. To the side. Oh, I think this is going to take the sink, so we'll be back in a minute. Right, that's the bits your hands and desk touch back, and they're a lot less gross. So give them a good drying. Make sure everything's nice and clean and dry before we put it back together. Alright, let's put this mouse wheel back together. Now it's clean too. So you can work out where that clip went. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I found somewhere that tells me how it works. So there's like a little hole in there for the clip to go into, and then it goes around and in there. Oh, and that just gives you your clickiness. Is that all they do to give you clickiness? God, that's mad. Anyway. I'm just going to plug this in again just to make sure it still works now it's been hot glued. Yep. So now we get to reinsert it back into its home. Should I clean that optical sensor while I'm here? Do you know what? A little bit of IPA and cotton bud will do no harm. I need to top up on my cleaning booze. Lovely. Okay. Goes in like that, it looks like, yeah. And you got our clicky buttons. So now I just need to do my cable routing. Now the question is, should I hot glue it from here? I'm going to put the top piece back on, and then I'm going to think about that. As Dr. K would say, the Truagh will it close? Korean term apparently. Only Korean I know. I'm always a fan of the Korean national team since the 2002 World Cup. Korea. Korea. What is stopping us close? What is stopping us close? Are the wires? Do they need to be twisted a bit? That bit goes there like that, and then if all those bits come back here, like that. Oh. Yeah, it's all falling apart again. Just like my life. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we have a close. We have a close and we have clips. I just need to find a screw, or the screw for that. Because you know what, it's so long since I took this apart, I have no idea where it is. Let's see, can I get a spare from the pile? I think it's taken. Okay. Okay, how does that feel? Feels okay. Alright, time for the final test. Alright, let's plug it in. Our lovely long red lead now. Yeah, it might fray at one end, but looks good. Alright, plugging it in. light is on. Now, will it mouse? You can see the cursor. Right click, refresh, left click. See the scroll wheel work. We'll open up a web page. Scroll click works. Go onto my YouTube page. Go to my channel. I'll look at all these other videos you can watch. The scroll works and it's clicky clicky, scrolly scrolly. Link new tab. Yeah. And then middle click to open a new tab. Yeah. I'll look at this other great video I made.
I'm shocked. Love that shock.
I am delighted with that. Just delighted. Didn't take much, well, it did take a bit of work, but it wasn't hard work. And you know, it was fairly easy to do. Not fairly easy to do, but you know, I've taken a junk cable, because the red cable, it was originally off a charger that got stood on a charge lead. And I've taken that, and I've taken a mouse that had a broken lead that was also going to be e-waste, 2 bits of e-waste, and I've got them as a spare mouse, which I do need from time to time when I'm working on PCs and the like. So I'm genuinely delighted with that. This crappy old Logitech gets to work again another day. And guys, I think the takeaway from this one is, oh, my heat gun is leaking. Sorry, my glue gun was just spewing glue onto my desk. I think that what I would like for you to have the takeaway for this is that try it. This was junk, and if I didn't fix it, it didn't change the fact that it was junk. But now I have fixed it, and I've learned some things along the way, and I've developed my skills. So if you watch videos like this and think, God, I'd love to learn how to solder, or I'd love how to fix things, find something small that you have that's already broken, crack it apart, see what you think, get yourself the cheapest soldering iron you can get on Amazon, or the cheapest heat gun, or the cheapest glue gun, the cheapest tools you can get, and just crack on with it. Work on things that are already broken. YouTube's a great resource for guides and reference images, as is Google Images. Take your time, try your hardest. Don't let the mistakes get to you, because we all make mistakes, and mistakes is the best bits of how we learn. And just do it, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. And if you like that advice, please feel free to like, subscribe. Is that the... Sorry, I just found a spring from a PS1 I was working on. Bloody ADHD moment. ADHD, what's the 2 Ds for? That's a typo. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.